I was the transportation planner for the Air District. I was in charge of their grant program, giving away up to $5 million every year. And I was also a planner for the Air District, doing air quality plans, working on Air District efforts to reduce global warming, for example. I did that for 12 years. Global warming is putting gases into the air which destroy the upper atmosphere's ability to protect the planet from solar temperature, solar heat. As a result, the planet's warming up because we are putting those gases into the air. The main gas is CO2, but there's also methane. Those are the two main global warming gases, and we're putting them up through burning of fuels. The largest single source of these gases in Santa Cruz is vehicles. The emissions caused by vehicles, by transportation using vehicles, because vehicles burn fuel and they emit CO2 and methane. About 40% of all of Santa Cruz's global warming gas comes from vehicle burning of fuels. Those totals, I actually got those just for this talk, were around, for vehicles in Santa Cruz County, every single day, 16 million cubic feet of global warming gas, and which is equal to 7 million tons of global warming gas, are emitted by vehicles traveling in Santa Cruz County. Well, they're called tailpipe emissions, just to simplify things. Tailpipe emissions of global warming gas. And there's a bunch of ways that they can be reduced, both regulatory and through funding of programs, projects, services that work towards reducing the burning of global warming gas through vehicles. One thing you can do is have the cities issue permits to vehicles that are EVs or hybrids so that they can park free, giving an incentive to people to use those vehicles and buy those vehicles. Another would be to give the same break to cars that are carrying 2 or more passengers. Because if you add 1 passenger to a single occupant vehicle, you halve its global warming emissions. So the cities of Santa Cruz County could do that. They could simply issue those permits. The one giving an exemption to HOVs, for exempting them from parking fees and meters, would have to be associated with an application. So people on their iPhones could prove that they had 2 or more people in the car and thereby get the exemption for the day, for example. There's other ways you can reduce the use of fuels in motor vehicles by increasing the cost of owning one by adding to the registration fee for very low mileage automobiles. Automobiles that are big and heavy and have very big engines, for example, would pay more than smaller, lighter automobiles or hybrids or EVs. That would reduce the use of fuels in motor vehicles. The other way is to encourage the planning of development in Santa Cruz County so that development occurs along transit corridors and thereby encourages the use of transit. People would be able to go from their homes to shops and businesses and workplaces on transit more easily than having to use a car the way they do now. So you'd increase the density around transit. The fourth way would be use this rail line, which is currently pretty much not in use. We would take this rail line and convert it to a transit system. The latest study of the rail line, the most recent multi-million dollar, I think it was over $1 million study funded by the feds to use this for transit, concluded that the most cost-effective use of it would be as a busway. Unfortunately, the county has purchased it, now owns it, using Prop 116 money. 116 money can only be used towards building a rail transit project. So the first thing we'd have to do is get a source of revenue that would allow us to buy this back from the CTC's Prop 116 fund. We'd have to pay them back the $10 million that the county got to buy it from the railroad company. So that would be a trick to do that. But it's quite possible once we change Prop 13 to allow 50% voting, or so-called simple majority voting, for new taxes and raise the tax on fuel. All we need is a 10-cent fuel tax and we'd have humongous amounts of money to put towards global warming projects like a busway on this rail line. A busway would be rubber tired, it would use natural gas powered duplex buses, connected buses, high-speed buses. The buses would be able to go underground under the crossings so they wouldn't slow traffic. They would provide single seat, no transfer service all the way from Watsonville to UC, and thereby would be far more effective at attracting ridership, far more effective at reducing CO2. They would be a better solution, more cost-effective, cheaper than a light rail system. One big advantage of a busway over a rail line or rail transit system is that when you're on the bus, you can get on it on any regular city bus line on any city street, go up to the busway, get on the busway, travel on the busway, exit off onto a city street. So the bus passenger can start in Watsonville and end up at the top of the hill in UC. On a rail line, he'd have to get out down on the flats, transfer to a bus, and then go to UC. All the delay and wait would be avoided by a busway. My list will be objected to and fought hard by large corporations involved in the fuel industry and other businesses dealing with the burning of fuels, motor fuels. This fight, however, is worth fighting. If we don't win it, all our apples are going to die. Our Dungeness crabs will never come back. The San Lorenzo River will flood downtown, and there won't be any more water for agriculture.